The actress Pat Phoenix ended her fight against cancer this morning. She died peacefully in her sleep at a hospital near Manchester. Her husband of just 7 days, the actor Tony Booth, was at her bedside. Known and loved by millions as Elsie Tanner in the television series Coronation Street, Pat Phoenix was in many ways the queen of soap operas. Coronation Street's executive producer Bill Podmore said Pat Phoenix became one of the pillars of strength on which the programme succeeded beyond imagination. William Roach, who played Ken Barlow alongside her for 22 years, said Pat always lived in style and she went out in style. We shall all miss her. From the hospital where she died, Linda Lewis reports.
Pat Phoenix died just before 9 o'clock this morning at the private hospital in Cheadle, where she'd been admitted 3.5 weeks ago. She'd been in a coma for several days. The hospital said she died with dignity, slipping peacefully away. Doctors and nurses there were impressed with the fighting spirit she showed to the end.
During the whole period of time that she has been in the hospital, she showed to all of us the strength of character and the willpower that I think, from my own knowledge of it, for which she was famous.
A week ago today, she was married to actor Tony Booth, the man with whom she'd shared her life for the last 7 years. They lived together in this 18th century cottage just outside Manchester. The bedside wedding ceremony was carried out by a Catholic priest, who also administered the last rites. Best man was Tony Warren, creator of Coronation Street. Today, he recalled what happened when she auditioned for the part of Elsie Tanner in 1960.
Elsie Tanner had come home. It was quite remarkable. We thought it was a very difficult part to cast, but the moment she was through the door, one knew one was in the presence of star quality. And she had this amazing quality. She could reach out to an audience and she could convince them that she was talking to them personally, and they all thought they knew her.
How do you think you will remember her?
Bold, beautiful, brave. I remember her as my friend.
Before Coronation Street, Pat Phoenix was almost unknown. After she said farewell to the street 2.5 years ago, she went on to appear in stage and television plays. But as Peter Main reports, the public never really saw her as anyone but Elsie Tanner, the brassy brunette with a fiery temper and a heart of gold.
Kids. I'm sick to death of them cluttering about in my backing.
There's nowhere else for them to play.
Well, the council should do something about it.
By the time Pat Phoenix appeared in the first episode of Coronation Street in 1960, she'd already been in show business for more than 2 decades. She'd played a string of small parts in her native Northwest and London's West End, never quite making the big time. Then she got the part of Elsie Tanner in the series that was to become known to millions of viewers simply as The Street.
It meant dropping Elsie out and all the things that go with it. Well, the job was part of it.
You won't do much better, you know.
I know, but I still need to think about it.
If you turn that down, where do you go from here?
I don't know. But I tell you something, we're going to have a hell of a time finding out.
There were so many things that were demanded by Pat on behalf of all the other actors in the street. There were certain things that weren't happening for us, and so she would march up to the producer's office and say, hey, look, if this thing doesn't happen, you haven't got a show, Buster, you know, and they'd say, all right. They were a bit scared of her. And fair enough, you know, she was quite a formidable lady. But once you knew her, she was a pussycat, you know, she was a darling underneath. She was a little girl pretending to be a big girl, I think.
For the last 6 years, her constant companion was the actor Tony Booth. They married in hospital 3 weeks after she was taken ill. Pat Phoenix left Coronation Street in 1984. Some said the series couldn't last without her, though she always said the show that made her a star would survive. But for many viewers, the day Elsie Tanner turned her back on the street, things were never quite the same again.
I won't bother asking you for an apology, Mrs. Walker, though some folk might. I'll just get out of here and we won't be coming back.
Pat Phoenix's last television role was in a new drama series due to be screened later this year. She plays an ex-actress confined to her bed because of a serious heart condition.
You know, I'm so frightened. He's my Madeline, you see. Can't think of him as any older. I don't want him to laugh at me.
It's said to be one of her finest performances, a fitting finale to the career of one of television's greatest stars.
Pat Phoenix, who died peacefully and with dignity this morning.